Welcome to Off the Clock, a podcast by Procino-Wells and Woodland, where we take a team-centered, family-focused approach to serving the estate planning and elder law needs of our community on the Eastern Shore. I'm Amber Woodland, one of the attorneys at PWW Law, and I'm joined today by another one of our attorneys, Michele Procino-Wells. Welcome! We're excited to talk about our story today for our first ever podcast, so let's go ahead and jump right in and get started.
Sounds great.
All right, awesome. So we just figured we would kick off our podcast and talk about a little of our story and what brought us to where we are today. And I think what's most important is our roots.
Absolutely.
And that we're both Sussex County girls and we love to live and practice in Sussex County. So you want to share a little bit about just kind of
how we started, right? Yeah. So what's scary, this is going to be my 25th year of practice, which is really incredible when I think about how fast that time has gone by. But our firm, that originally started out as Michele L. Procino, attorneys at law, 15 years ago, which is really, the time has flown so fast. And so that was 2005. And Amber, you joined the firm in 2006?
Summer of 2006.
Yeah, as a law clerk, which was really awesome. You were still in college, right? And then stayed on summers during law school?
Right. Yep. I had a law school professor who said, actually a college professor who said, you know what, if you want to go to law school, you better get some real world experience. So I pushed my resume out to Michele L. Procino, and the rest is history.
Right. Absolutely. So gosh, there's been so much evolution since then. Now we have we practice in 2 states, 3 offices, Seaford, Lewis, and Berlin, a team of 4 attorneys, and we have an amazing team of 15 plus support staff that support us. And, my practice over the years, it is interesting to me how much it has evolved. I've always done estate planning and elder law work, but in the beginning did lots of other stuff too. But as, my practice has matured, and with you coming on board and with the other attorneys, we were really able to really boil things down and really specialize in just a couple areas of law, so now we pretty much exclusively do elder law and estate planning work, which has been an incredible experience for us.
So I think one of the fun parts about our story is the renovation of our offices and a little bit about your experience renovating our Seaford office. And then we are just completing the renovation of our Lewis space, which has been quite a journey. I think both were journeys, but just a little bit about.
Sure. Yeah. So when I started the firm, I rented a space in Seaford and started out there. And then, I was kind of a glutton for punishment there in those early years. I think all in 1 year, I got married. I opened the firm. I got married. I got pregnant. I bought an office building, renovated an office building. So it was a whirlwind. But yeah, so the Seaford office, my son went, my now 20-year-old son, went to preschool there. And we found out that the preschool they were closing. They were going to sell the building. So I purchased the building, and I'll never forget. Josh said to me, he's like, "Mommy, that is going to be so cool that you're going to have all these toys at your office." And I had to set him straight and say, "No, baby. The toys are not going to be there. It's going to be Mommy's office." And so we did the renovations, and we moved into that building in 2007, and then just in 2 years ago, we purchased the Lewis. Why don't you talk about that?
About the Lewis project?
Yeah.
So we had been in a strip mall in Lewis for about 5 years and decided we wanted a more permanent home in the Lewis area. And so Megan, our client services director, had started working with a realtor, and we went on a tour of a bunch of different local properties and fell in love with our new Lewis office on Savannah Road. The location was perfect. The side of the street was perfect. The fact that we only had to hop over Route 1 was perfect. It was great, and we absolutely fell in love with it. The prior owners had lived there as a residence, so it wasn't commercialized, so we knew that there was going to be a little bit of work that we needed to do, but we never imagined that it would be quite the project as it turned out to be. But officially, as of just earlier this week, we have a final certificate of occupancy,
Thank
and
God.
we cannot wait to start seeing clients in that office. It's absolutely beautiful and
Yes.
has the same feel as
Yeah.
our Seaford office, which is what we were going for. And, our Berlin office
Hmm.
is still just as homey. We don't own
Yes.
that space. We rent that space for now, much like we started in Lewis, but
Yeah.
it's still just as comfortable of a space,
And it
which
has a nice history too.
it does.
Yeah, it has a nice history in that there was an accounting firm there for years, and he's our landlord, and he's been really great to us. We've got lots of connections in that community and in Maryland, and so yeah, I always feel like a proud mama when I talk about the office and the offices and all of our team, which kind of makes me think about how much we use a team
Hmm.
based approach to all that we do, which again I know we're both so proud of.
Hmm.
And something too that with our practices really evolving over time, where we realized that as attorneys we don't have to do everything, and
Hmm.
that's not really the best way to give the best service to our clients, because if clients are constantly frustrated because they've called us and left us a message and we're meeting with other clients and it's hard for us to get back to them. And so I think that's been a huge thing for our practice, that again something I'm really proud of,
Hmm.
that we have an amazing team of highly trained professional folks that work with us, which also makes me think about how family focused we are too. So why don't you should talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I consider our team my family. I love them like my family. I spend just as much, if not more, time with them as I do my family. I am so super proud of our team and all that they offer to us and to the families that we serve. They're just incredible. But several years ago, we actually went to Disney Leadership Institute.
We
And
did.
for anyone who doesn't know this about me, I absolutely love Disney and all things Disney. So we did a little institute, a little food and wine, and we had a great time. But one of the things we did there was we created pillars for our firm. And we really try so hard to stay consistent in everything we do with our pillars, and one of those being family focused.
Right.
We pride ourselves on offering really family centered estate plans. We treat the clients and the families we serve as if they're our own family. And honestly, I think that's a key to our success. And, I was thinking about it too when we were talking about our offices. We're women, we're proud of that. And I think our offices and our team lends itself to a more feminine approach to what we do. And therefore, we are just so happy every day in and out to serve the families that we do and treat them like they're our own and get to know them. I
Right.
think we build relationships, which is really cool. We don't treat our families as transactions. It's not a one and done kind of thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing relationship that we're building with them, and I'm really proud of that too. It makes work fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool thing, the Disney Leadership Institute, that's a great example of, we've done so many things over the years trying to help us grow and helping then so then we can help our team grow and offer really great services to our clients. But the thing that really sticks out to me and where the family focus comes from is that whole institute was all about really identifying what your core values are.
Mhm.
And that's, family is so important to both of us,
Right.
and like you said, we're Sussex County girls.
Mhm.
We work in the community, practice law in the community where we both grew up, and both married local guys, raising our kids here. And so the family focus is huge. And that was what, really taking a look at our values made us realize about what's most important to us and what we want to be able to convey and help the families that we work with to really help preserve their family legacies and their wishes, and really trying to avoid doing the best we can to help families avoid conflict,
Mhm.
upon a loved one becoming incapacitated or upon their deaths. So that's really important. I know with one of the other pillars was positive experience. That was something, we both, I think in our values, both had a strong sense of loyalty. And that's really a loyalty to our clients and to our team, where we want our clients to feel like they've received quality, so that we're taking care of them. We've intentionally made the offices homey.
Mhm.
Like you said, we want it to feel inviting. We are not stuffy people
Mhm.
and we don't hire stuffy people. We want our clients to feel like they can relate to us and they can talk to us and that we're going to be good listeners. And that's something I think too that has, it's one of my favorite things over the years when I've had a client want to give me a hug at the end of a meeting or when they share with me that they've been to another lawyer, that all that lawyer did was talk over their head, or they left that attorney's office with more questions than when they went in. And so that positive experience is something that I know, is really important to both of us.
It is. Our last pillar that we've not covered is extraordinary quality. And I think that we strive every day in and out to provide extraordinary quality to the families that we serve. We also try to provide an extraordinary work environment for our team. And I think we get it right a lot of the times. We're not perfect, but we have an incredible firm manager who leads our team and guides everything we do all the time. And so it is just something we strive for, which is to offer that positive experience, but also in a really high quality way. I am proud of our non-attorney consultations too. And sometimes other attorneys hear, what do you mean your attorneys don't do your consultations? But in reality, the families we serve actually like it better that one of our team members conduct our initial consultations. So do you want to talk a little bit about how we got to that and how it just revolutionized our practice?
It just occurred to me that during this podcast, I think our listeners will definitely, hopefully realize early on and throughout that we're different, that our law firm model is very different. Our team approach is very different. And it's something that we've spent a lot of years working on, and we're, lots of traveling, when you're talking about extraordinary quality, that's because we have done the work, we have studied, we have gone to, conference after conference after conference. So when you talk about non-attorney consultations, that's something that, gosh, we've been doing now for 6 or 7 years, I think. And so the way that works is the first meeting with our firm is generally going to be with a non-lawyer. And again, very different model from, I really don't know of any other law firm locally that does it that way. But that first meeting is going to be with a non-attorney, and it really is intended to be an educational meeting. A meeting is supposed to be a low stress experience for our clients, so they can come in, they can meet one of our team, they can learn about us, we can learn about them, they can talk about what their goals are, we can try to identify what type of planning is best suited to accomplish their goals. And it works really well because then clients know, what kind of planning options are available to them. And we also discuss pricing at that first meeting, which is huge. Most all the work we do now, we do based on flat fees. And so clients really appreciate that because they know exactly how much it's going to cost. I think back to the days when, early in my career when we did all hourly billing, and clients hated it because, they would get their bill and be shocked at how much time it took to draft documents, and it add up so quickly. So those non-attorney consultations are a fabulous way to get a good intro to our firm, to our services, and our pricing. And like you said, clients love it.
Clients love it.
It's just that some people who have had other experiences with other firms at first don't quite get it. But once they do, we've gotten such positive feedback. It really has been, one of the best things that we've done in our practice.
Yeah, I think one of the things we want to portray in our podcast too is that we're relatable. We don't take ourselves too seriously. And so I think sometimes we forget that going to an attorney's office can be a scary experience. People worry about what that's going to feel like or what that's going to look like. Right. And I think our non-attorney consultations really lend itself to, we're one of you, and we're here to just take care of your family, create a plan that's going to work, and really in such a way that you understand what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I think that that's always our top goal.
Right.
So we really are exclusive, and we only practice in a very limited number of practice areas, if you will. We mentioned elder law, we mentioned estate planning. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that means to us? What is elder law? What is estate planning? And then we also add in some estate administration and trust administration, helping families after a loved one has passed away.
So elder law and estate planning, actually the term elder law really encompasses estate planning. That term, it is seems to be widely misused or misinterpreted. But it means, estate planning, which includes wills, powers of attorney, healthcare directives, really basic planning. But it also includes more sophisticated planning, special needs trusts, retirement account trusts, asset protection trusts. So there's a wide range, but it all is intended to relate to legal services needed by folks as they age or if they become incapacitated or disabled. Huge part of our elder law practice is about asset protection planning for folks who are worried about paying for long-term care, whether that's care, in a skilled nursing facility or at home or an assisted living type of facility. So it also includes, some adult guardianship work when that's necessary. And then a huge piece of it too is estate and trust administration after a person passes away. Early in my practice, we practice all kinds of other areas of law, but what we saw in our community was a real need for that estate planning and elder law because we have some very wealthy folks that live in this area, but it seems that the vast majority are just folks who have worked really hard and have accumulated some assets and who really want to protect those assets and really want to make sure that what they have they can leave as a legacy to their families. And again, it goes back to that's why we love what we do because it's all about family and protecting a person's wishes and helping them provide for their loved ones.
Do you remember the day you walked across the hall and you knocked on my door and you said, Amber, I know exactly what we need to do. And this is going back like 9 years ago,
right,
10 years ago
right.
at this point, and what you had experienced that day. Tell us a little bit about
Sure.
that, and then why we ended up traveling really the country to get the training that we
Yeah.
couldn't get in Western Sussex County to be able to serve our community.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love this story. Way back, we used to do a ton of real estate work. We did all kinds of different things. And, back in the, mid to late, like 2008 to 2010, all the estate tax laws changed dramatically. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we had done a lot of estate tax avoidance planning as part of our estate planning practice. But with the tax laws having changed so much, and then at that time too, the whole real estate market bottomed out. So our real estate practice really had dwindled off. We were really kind of saying, what's the future of our practice? Like what? And that's when we really started looking at our community. And yeah, I did. I had been to a board meeting at Nanacoke at the hospital. And they'd had a consultant come in and talk about sort of the future of the hospital. And they were doing all these projections down the road about what kind of needs the community. And there were all these statistics. And the statistics were all about the ever growing 65 and older population. And it also gave some information, demographic information about their net worth and annual income. And yeah, something during that presentation just made a light bulb go off in my mind about that asset protection planning side of our practice. Because at that point and up to that point in my career, I had studied all of the Medicaid long-term disability rules. I knew a little bit about VA planning for long-term care benefits, but I had never, I'd counseled some clients on those rules, but I had never really engaged in helping families plan. And so, yeah, that day I felt like my brain was on fire. And yeah, I ran to your office when I got back from that meeting and said, this is what we need to do. And yeah, you're right. We did. I think our first conference we attended was in Chicago and we left there just amped. Yes. Amped. So excited. And we really spent a good, 5, 6, 7 years doing a lot of traveling, going to a lot of conferences, doing a lot of brainstorming in hotel lobbies, and airports and on the planes. We got shushed one day on a plane because we were just like having this amazing like brainstorming and the lady in front of us asked us to be quiet. So that was fun. But yeah, it's been fun. And, it's been true. We have seen that there is a huge need in our community for those areas of law. And so we did the work, we became experts. And we're also still very humble. If something comes up that we're not sure about, we're the first ones to admit it and we figure it out.
That's right.
Yep.
I look back on that time and like to reminisce because it's when you and I became really, really close. I mean, we built a friendship and a practice, I feel like, all at the same time, and I'm really proud of that. And we don't do as much traveling now, and I think that's just because we have a lot of experience,
Right.
and we don't necessarily need as much education and training as we once did. Of course, we stay on top of all of that, but I miss it sometimes. And we look at new potential organizations that we could join to just keep on the cutting edge of the planning that we do for our community. But I think it's really special what we built in those years as people and as business owners and as leaders. And so I think just to wrap up our first podcast, why don't we talk a little bit about the most recent sort of program that we built in our practice, which we call our CARES program, and why we created that and what it is and how it benefits the families we serve, and why we think you can't really have an estate plan unless you maintain it.
Right. So the PWW Law CARES program. So another conference that we attended. There were, 5 of us, I think, that went to a conference.
Yeah, we took a couple of our team
Yeah,
members.
yeah, we went to a conference in Orlando, something that we had been thinking about and talking about, but finally, traveled and learned a lot more about it. And it makes me think about on a plane. Remember that conference, we were trying to figure out what to call it, and we were struggling with the name. And I remember I was sitting there like doodling on the plane. You were in the row behind me. And do you remember? I wrote it on a piece of paper and I held it up. I held it up so you could see it. But CARES stands for Continued Alignment, Review, Education, and Support. Thank you. I had to glance. But what it is supposed to be a maintenance program. Again, you said it early in the session today about that, estate planning shouldn't be considered transactional, and that it really should be something that people should consider a process that needs to be reviewed over time. And so our CARES program, it's an annual membership program that our clients who've created trust can join. And it's intended to make sure that their planning stays up to date. A huge part of that is reviewing their assets. In other episodes, I know we're going to talk a lot about asset alignment and what that means, but having an estate plan, having the documents is obviously critical, but looking at the assets that a person owns, how they're titled, do they have beneficiaries named? That's where we see the biggest mistakes, because unless that's all aligned with the plan, and stays aligned over time, like that's the real key, and that's the key to the CARES program, that estate plan might not work as intended. And the only way that we as attorneys, can guarantee a client that their plan is going to work as intended is if they stay in touch with us over time. So we've put together this program. Again, I think we've got a whole episode planned to talk about the CARES program. But we put together this program as a way to make sure that the estate plans that we create are going to work and do their job properly.
And take care of those families, which is the whole point of even doing the planning to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, I think what makes us different, again, is that we're always looking at new ways to better serve our families and our clients. And I think we just want everyone to know that it's so important to us that they plan.
Right.
18 and over, you should plan, whether regardless of your health, regardless of your wealth, but also to create plans that are going to work. Because after all, it's all about taking care of your loved ones and your family,
right,
and staying on top of that to make sure it happens. So, well, with that, I think we'll wrap up for today. So it's been fun. Thanks for being with us today on Off the Clock. If you'd like to learn more about us, visit our website at pwwlaw.com. Of course, you can contact us directly by calling 302-628-4140 or emailing info@pwwlaw.com. We're here to help you plan today to protect your families tomorrow. See you next time. Anything discussed on Off the Clock is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship. To obtain the most reliable guidance, listeners are encouraged to seek personalized advice from qualified professionals.